in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Hi folks, this is Alex Jones, and I want to tell you about the Silver Lungs generator. Now you can produce pure and endless colloidal silver and deliver the solution directly into the bloodstream by breathing the solution through the lungs. The respiratory system is the first line of defense for airborne pathogens and viruses. The Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced nano-silver solutions and also delivers the silver nanoparticles instantly into the bloodstream. With continued legislation threatening the sale of nano-silver products, you can now produce pure and endless colloidal silver with the Silver Lungs generator. Very easy to follow step-by-step instructions are provided, making production fast and simple. Go to www.silverlungs.com today and learn more about the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs generator. That's www.silverlungs.com. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
I have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
While you were sleeping, they came and took it all away. The lanes and the meadows.
And we are back on the Alex Jones Show. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was an inside job. All those FBI terror plots that are now being used to justify discussions about expanding the Patriot Act even more. You know, lock it in long term. Hey, who needs a Bill of Rights, huh? It only worked for a couple hundred years. Let's ditch it now, I guess, is what these people are thinking. Unbelievable. We do have Paul Craig Roberts coming up here in just a couple of minutes, but quick, before then, we're going to cover a little bit of news. Bring that graphic back up. BPA spikes 1,200% after eating canned soup. For those of you watching on PrisonPlanet.tv, you can see the visuals here. A new study shows that people who ate canned soup for 5 days straight saw their urinary levels of the chemical bisphenol A. That's the hormone mimicking chemical that has a lot of people concerned about cancer. Ooh, a little bit of breast augmentation for males there. Not something that a lot of people want to do, understandably. That spikes 1,200%. BPA 1,200% higher in the blood of those who are eating canned soup for 5 days straight. This is the first study to quantify BPA levels in humans after the ingestion of canned foods. Now, here's an interesting fact. You may not know about this. There is no such thing as a canned food that has a liner in it which is free of BPA. To my knowledge, I checked. We called all the major can manufacturers throughout the industry to ask, is there a liner and enamel inside cans that is free of BPA? And the answer we were told is no. No such thing. at the moment, but they're working feverishly on it. But then the other question is, what other chemicals are going to be in there besides the BPA? See, maybe it's BPA free in the future, but it's got some other chemical that we don't even know about yet. Just make up 3 random letters, C, K, J. That's going to be the next chemical that they find in these cans. It all gets back to the basics, folks. If you eat food out of your own garden, if you practice some home gardening and a little bit of permaculture and you eat that food, you're always going to be better off than eating something out of a can. We've got From the American Dream, 20 signs that America is going crazy. Is this posted up on InfoWars, guys? I bet it is. 20 more signs. Yeah, it's up there. Got a confirmation on that. Check it out. Well, you know it's going crazy when you see presidential candidates up on stage who are debating, and all of them except one say that we don't need a Bill of Rights as long as some president says we might be in a war. Doesn't make any sense. U.S. and Arab states set to impose a no-fly zone over Syria. This is Paul Joseph Watson article, now posted on Infowars.com. It always starts with the no-fly zone, doesn't it? Yep, and then it becomes a no-life zone as they start with the depleted uranium bombing, another weapon of mass destruction that is being used by the military to make life unlivable in some of these target zones for not just a couple of years, but a couple of tens, hundreds of thousands of years in some cases. Here's another article in Russia Today. The West's fixation on Assad eclipses bloody chaos in Egypt. This is all just more beating the war drums, getting ready for action in Iran and Syria and somewhere else. Hey, we saw, what was this? Janet Napolitano and the Department of Homeland Security put out a warning about Turkey. And I don't mean the country, Turkey. I thought it was going to be a terror alert about maybe Turkey, but, you know, Turkey's not in the news that much, not like Iran and Syria these days. But no, it was about the dangers of frying a turkey in your own home. Oh, my goodness. So we're going to have a little segment on that near the top of this hour. I brought some gear for it. I have fire gear here. Yeah, because they showed a video of a turkey catching on fire and burning down someone's porch deck. And full flames everywhere from roasting, not roasting, but deep frying a turkey. So I'm going to don a fireman's hat and some Nomex gloves, and we're going to tackle the subject of cooking a turkey terror style. That's right. That's all coming up here. And we do have Paul Craig Roberts joining us now, and he's here to talk about trickle-down tyranny and some of the other topics. Paul Craig Roberts is one of the most prolific and, in my opinion, one of the most brilliant political writers, if not the most, of all time. I'm a great admirer of Paul Craig Roberts, and we published many of his stories, in fact, on Natural News. Paul, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Mike, and I want to congratulate you for trickle-down tyranny.
Well, thank you, Paul. That really means a lot to me coming from you. I've admired your writing and your analysis for many, many years. What is in your mind of what's going on today, especially following the debates that just happened last night?
Well, you know, there's only one candidate for president, that's Ron Paul. The rest of them are a bunch of idiots. They're all trying to outdo one another in starting World War III. I've never seen such a collection of dopes in my life. I mean, and one of them, if not Obama, is going to be president.
Yeah, that's pretty scary, actually. I completely agree with your assessment there. It's like they can't read. It's like they think that the Bill of Rights must say at the very top, this does not apply if someone mentions the word war. Yeah. You know, there's no exception to the Bill of Rights. What do you say?
No, of course there are no exceptions. You know, it could just be that they're all bought and paid for by the military security complex. You know, Eisenhower was, a half a century ago, wasn't it, that President Eisenhower warned us in his farewell address at the end of his second term that American liberty was in danger from the military security complex. And so I believe that could be what we're seeing today. The takeover is so total that unless you're a complete shill for the military security complex, you can't even run for office. I mean, look at Obama, for example. You remember how excited everyone was about his election? You remember the massive numbers of people that went and sat in the cold for his inauguration, and many of them were miles away.
Oh, he was like the second coming of Christ to some people.
You know, it was an amazing. The country has never seen an outpouring of support for a president of that magnitude, ever. And what did he do? He pissed it away.
Well,
he started another war right away. He validated all of the Bush administration violations of the Constitution.
Well, let me ask you, Paul. Sorry to interrupt there, but you wrote an article that a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that was a brilliant article laying out the case for what you say is the utter fabrication of the war on terror. And I read your article point by point, and I agree with it point by point. And yet, as we saw in the debates last night, the operating illusions, the illusionary platform from which all the other candidates are operating, and even Wolf Blitzer is asking questions, and then the people in the crowd are asking questions like Edwin Meese. Their illusionary platform is that the war on terror is very, very real and very scary and very much in your face, and we have an immediate threat to our life and safety because of all these terrorists. But you were able to completely show that to be a total fraud.
Yes, we're living in George Orwell's 1984 world, where Big Brother's media tells the people every day about all the wars that they're having to combat, and it's all hokum. It's all a hoax, and it's amazing that no more than, say, a fourth of the population sees through it. It's an extraordinary thing.
That is astonishing, and it really makes me wonder about some of the reasons behind that. Later on in this show, in fact, we're going to be talking about heavy metals poisoning and how that might be impacting cognitive function and clear thinking. What do you think, in your analysis, might be behind it? Are people just easily hoodwinked? Are they brainwashed? Are they apathetic? What do you think is psychologically behind this mass denial of reality?
I think a lot of things. One is there's no media, except for individual programs like Alex Jones. There's no reporting because the media was concentrated in the last years of the Clinton administration. And it's no longer run by journalists. It's no longer independent. It's no longer diverse. And so it serves as a propaganda ministry. Gerald Celente calls them prostitutes. Yeah. Which is an apt term. So there's no source of information for people unless they work at it full time. If they're on the internet, they read foreign press, they read sites that dig up the real news. You have to, in other words, it's a huge time and energy effort to get any idea of what's really going on. Most people can't do that. The other thing, I think, which has been controlling, was they bought on to 9/11. Yeah. The minute you buy on to 9/11, you've accepted the premise for the police state, the warmonger state, the threats everywhere. And, of course, this serves the interests of the military security complex, and they keep it alive. We see this with the FBI organizing fake terror plots so they can arrest some poor dupe and scare the people further. So it's all a successful propaganda venture.
But isn't it also, it's almost comedic. It is very clownish. It's like kindergartners playing with their imaginary friends and enemies. This is what the FBI is doing, and the ATF running guns into Mexico. And the American people don't see it. How can they be so blind to it? I don't get it.
And that's a good question. How can they be so blind? But they're losing their country, their liberty, the reputation of the country. And I think we're headed toward World War III, because when you can so delude an entire population, supposedly a superpower, supposedly the richest country on the world, the best educated. The United States allegedly has 17 of the top universities in the world. And yet we have a population that can't perceive fraud, right? It's practiced on them daily. Well, it's an amazing thing. I don't know the answer, but you can see what the consequences are dire. We now have a police state. And the police state, as you point out in your brilliant article,